Ladies and gentlemen, let me break this down for you. There's power in silence that most people don't understand. When someone starts ignoring you, especially a man you've been giving your heart to, your first instinct might be to speak up. You want answers. You want to know what changed. You want to know why the man who used to call you every morning now barely remembers you exist. You want to text, call, plead, reason, but I'm here to tell you something that might sting a little. The moment you start chasing after someone who's ignoring you, you're teaching them that your value depends on them. And that's a dangerous game. You don't need to explain your worth. You don't need to beg for time, attention, or love. You don't need to go out of your way to prove that you're still worth his time. Because if you were really on his mind, you wouldn't have to remind him that you exist. That man knows your number. He knows your voice. He knows what you bring to the table. And if he's choosing to act like you're not there, trust and believe it's not because he forgot. It's because he's watching what you'll do next. This is the part where women get it twisted. A lot of you think if you stay quiet, you're being passive. But silence isn't passive. Silence is loud when you use it with purpose. It's a message that says, I saw what you did, I didn't like it, and instead of chasing you down to talk about it, I'm going to shift my energy back to me. You want to shake a man's soul? Stop showing up. Stop reacting. Stop explaining what you feel and let your absence say it all. When a man ignores you, he's subconsciously asking, how much is she willing to put up with before she finally leaves? If your answer is everything, then congratulations. You just gave him permission to do it again. See, men are simple. If they know you'll stay after being treated like an afterthought, then why should they change? If you call 10 times after being ghosted, he knows he's still got you. If you pour your heart into a long message and all he sends back is K or nothing at all, you just taught him your feelings don't need to be respected for him to still have access to you. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine someone owns a luxury store, let's say Chanel. They don't beg customers to come in. They don't put up flashing signs saying, please come buy from us. No, they sit there with elegance and silence, knowing their worth. If you want them, you'll walk in, you'll save up, you'll show respect. That's how you need to be. You are the luxury item, not the discount rack. And if someone wants your time, they better act like it's valuable, because it is. Now, I know it ain't easy. That silence feels heavy at first. You start wondering if you're doing the right thing. You check your phone every few minutes, hoping he'll notice you're gone. You're tempted to break your silence because you're scared he'll move on. But let me ask you this. If the only way to keep a man is to chase him, do you really have him? Or do you have an illusion you're clinging to because you're afraid of being alone? You are not hard to love. You are not too emotional. You are not asking for too much. You're asking the wrong person. You're asking someone who's already shown you they're not invested the same way you are. And that's okay, because when someone stops showing up for you, that's your cue to start showing up for yourself. The energy you were using to overthink, use it to level up, read, grow, heal. Get so focused on your life that he starts asking, damn, where did she go? Let me tell you something else. Men always notice the silence. They might act like they don't. They might pretend they're unbothered, but trust me, when you stop calling, stop texting, stop reacting, it eats at them. Not because they miss the sound of your voice, but because they miss the control. They miss knowing they could disappear and still come back whenever they want it. Your silence is the biggest plot twist he didn't see coming. That's when he starts rethinking. That's when he starts wondering. That's when he starts checking your stories, liking old pictures, sending hey you at 2 a.m. because he feels your absence more than he ever appreciated your presence. But here's the part that matters most. By the time he finally notices you're not chasing him anymore, you might not even want him back. That silence gave you clarity. It helped you see the emotional roller coaster for what it was. It showed you who you were becoming just to keep someone who wouldn't even meet you halfway. And now you've got peace. And baby, peace is priceless. You want to teach someone a lesson they'll never forget? Walk away without a word. Let your growth, your glow up, your peace speak louder than anything you could ever type in a message. Because when someone chooses to ignore you, they're betting that your fear of losing them is stronger than your self-respect. Prove them wrong. You don't owe anybody your explanation, especially not someone who didn't even think you were worth a response. You owe yourself the kind of love that doesn't require begging, chasing, or compromising your standards just to feel seen. So next time he tries to test you with silence, don't fail the test by reacting. Pass it by knowing exactly who you are and refusing to waste another breath explaining it to someone who never deserved it in the first place. Let me ask you something. What happens when you leave your door wide open to just anybody? You get people walking in with dirty shoes, touching things they don't respect, maybe even stealing something valuable and walking right back out like it meant nothing. That's exactly what happens when you give someone unlimited access to your time, your heart, your energy, and your life without making them earn it. Especially when that someone has already shown you that they don't treat you right. The problem is you're too available. You're always picking up the phone on the first ring, always texting back immediately, always canceling your plans because he finally decided to show up. You drop everything just to prove that you're loyal, that you're dependable, that you're different from the rest. But let me break this to you gently. Being overly available to someone who's inconsistent doesn't make you look loyal. It makes you look easy to take for granted. And people don't value what they don't have to work for. You think you're being kind, but what you're actually doing is teaching him that you will always be there no matter how he treats you. So he starts treating you like a backup plan. You become plan B, plan C, maybe not even in the plan at all, just someone he knows he can hit up when he's bored, lonely, or in between women. And you keep showing up, hoping this time he'll see your worth. But listen to me, people don't appreciate what's always available. They appreciate what they have to earn. Let me tell you something Steve Harvey would say if he were standing in front of you right now. You are not a doormat, baby. You're a diamond. And you know what happens with diamonds? They're locked up in vaults. They're protected. They're respected. And if someone wants access, they better come correct. But here you are, being treated like a vending machine. Insert a little attention, press a few buttons, and boom. You give love, care, affection, support. For what? For breadcrumbs? You got to stop giving people the best parts of you just because they show up once in a while. You got to make access to you a privilege, not a right. He wants to see you cool. What effort is he putting in? He wants your time, fine. But has he shown he deserves it? Your attention, your energy, these are gifts. And you don't just hand out gifts to people who don't even bother to say thank you. You stop giving that energy to people who don't reciprocate it. Because here's the thing, access is how people measure value. If it's easy to get to you, it must not be that valuable. But if he has to climb a little, show some consistency, bring something real to the table, now you've got his respect. The man who truly wants you will never risk losing his access to you. He'll protect it. He'll work for it. He'll show up for it. And if he doesn't, then he doesn't deserve you, period. You don't need to beg, chase, or prove your value. All you need to do is restrict your access and watch the truth reveal itself. Watch who panics when you pull back. Watch who tries harder and who fades away. That's your answer right there. The one who values you will move mountains to stay close. The one who just wanted convenience will ghost you the moment it takes effort. Now let's be real. When you start doing this, when you stop being so available, it's going to feel uncomfortable. You're used to giving. You're used to showing love without holding back. You're used to being the one who cares more, so pulling back might feel like you're being cold, like you're playing games. But this ain't about games. This is about standards. And standards are how you protect your peace. They're how you keep your self-worth intact. There's this fear women have sometimes. If I stop being available, he might lose interest. And to that I say, good, let him. If your presence was the only thing keeping him around and your absence makes him vanish, then he was never really there for you in the first place. He was there for what you gave him, for the free ride, for the benefits. But love, real love, that kind of connection doesn't depend on, it depends on respect, on commitment, on effort. You want to teach a man the price of ignoring you? Start by showing him that your access isn't free. Make him earn your time. Make him earn your kindness. Not in a petty way, but in a self-respecting, queen-level kind of way. When he texts, you don't drop everything. When he calls, you don't answer if you're not in the mood. When he disappears for 3 days and comes back like nothing happened, you don't welcome him with open arms. You let him sit with the silence. Let him feel what life is like without the light you bring. That's not being mean. That's being smart. That's setting boundaries. That's making sure that next time he gets access to you, he knows it's a blessing. People respect what they work for. If he had to put in effort to get your attention, he'll treat it with care. But if he got it for free over and over again, why would he treat it like it's rare? That's why the man who texts once in a while and still gets all of you has no motivation to change. He knows he's got you, and the moment you start pulling that energy back, not out of spite but out of self-love, you take back your power. You stop being the option, you start being the prize. And it's not just about romantic relationships. This applies to friends, coworkers, family, anyone. Stop picking up every call. Stop dropping everything for people who wouldn't do the same for you. Protect your space. Protect your heart. Because when people know they can come and go in your life as they please, they'll never treat you with consistency. But when they know access to you has value, they either rise to meet your standards or they remove themselves. Either way, you win. So don't feel guilty for cutting off access to someone who didn't appreciate it. Don't feel bad for making people earn their place in your life. You're not being selfish. You're being wise. And in that wisdom, you teach the biggest lesson of all. If someone wants to be in your life, they better treat you like the blessing you are. Let me tell you something powerful that most people underestimate. Silence is a weapon, not the kind that hurts somebody physically, but the kind that makes people uncomfortable, that makes them rethink, that makes them sit in the echo of their own mess. Silence, baby, is a message, and sometimes it's louder than words. When a man ignores you, dismisses you, takes you for granted, the natural reaction is to want to defend yourself. You want to talk it out, explain your worth, make him see what he's missing. You want to get loud, emotional, make noise so he understands that you're hurt. But here's the twist. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. Let me put it this way. When someone starts to treat you like you're optional, like you're invisible, like your presence doesn't carry weight anymore, your instinct is to prove your value to them. That's human, that's emotional. But here's the real game. Silence flips the script. Silence tells a man, you no longer have the privilege of my voice, my energy, my attention. And let me tell you something. That silence, it haunts them. Because here's what happens. When you stop reacting, they start reflecting. When you stop texting, stop calling, stop checking in, they notice. At first, they might play it cool, act like they don't care, act like your silence doesn't faze them. But you just hold your ground, because while you're quiet, their mind is loud. Thoughts start spinning. Why is she calling me? Did she move on? Is she done with me? That silence becomes a mirror, and now they have to look at themselves. You want to teach him the price of ignoring you? Don't argue. Don't beg, don't chase, just disappear from his radar. Don't announce it, don't warn him, just go quiet. That's the moment he'll feel the weight of your absence, because people always assume you'll be there until you're not. Let me tell you how men work, straight from a man who's talked to thousands. We get comfortable. We get used to attention. We expect it. When a woman is always there, always giving, always talking, even when she's mad, we feel like we still got her. But when she goes silent, that's when the panic starts to set in. That's when we realize, oh, she might really be done. And here's what silence also does. It gives you your power back. It allows you to sit with yourself and breathe. You stop pouring your energy into someone who's not pouring back. You stop trying to fix something that's broken on his end. You get back to yourself, your peace, your priorities, your dignity. You stop explaining yourself to people who already know they messed up but just don't want to admit it. Now, let me be real with you. This ain't easy. Silence isn't passive. It takes strength. It takes control. Because everything in you is going to want to text him, call him, break the silence just to feel a response. But every time you resist that urge, you get a little stronger. Every time you let the phone ring and don't pick up, you raise your value. Every time you sit in your power instead of chasing closure, you teach him a lesson words could never teach. Because see, when you go quiet, you flip the script. Now he's the one wondering. Now he's the one playing the what-if game in his head, and when a man has to guess, he starts to stress. That's the price of ignoring a woman who had love to give, loyalty to offer, and energy to share, but who refuses to keep giving it for free. Silence also shows maturity. Anybody can yell, anybody can blow up a phone, anybody can throw a tantrum, but silence, that's grown woman territory. That says, I'm not here to argue my worth. I'm here to protect my peace. And a real man, one with sense, one with vision, he'll feel that shift. He'll recognize it. And if he's smart, it'll humble him. Now listen, your silence doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're wise. It means you know that your time and energy are too valuable to waste explaining things to someone who chose to ignore you. It means you understand the power of pulling back, of creating space, of letting people feel the void you leave behind. It means you trust that if he cares, he'll find his way back. And if he doesn't, you just saved yourself a whole lot of wasted time. Let me tell you something my grandma used to say. Baby, when folks stop talking, that's when the truth comes out. And she was right. Because when you stop talking, you start watching. You start seeing who checks on you, who notices the silence, who steps up and who fades away. That silence becomes a filter. And trust me, it never lies. So let that man feel what it's like not to have your good morning texts, your check-ins, your loyalty, your love. Let him wake up one day and realize the silence he's hearing is the sound of you finally choosing yourself. That's not revenge. That's self-respect. That's growth. That's the kind of lesson that doesn't come with yelling or crying. It comes with peace. And peace, my friend, is something nobody should ever take for granted. Because the loudest message you can send sometimes is no message at all. You want to teach a man the price of ignoring you? Baby, stop worrying about him altogether and start putting that same energy into you. Ain't no better revenge, no louder message, no more attractive glow than a woman who levels up so hard, the man who ignored her don't even recognize her no more. Let me break it down to you. When a man starts to act distant, when he stops replying, when he stops showing up like he used to, don't chase him. Don't beg. Don't try to remind him of your worth. Just start investing in yourself like your life depends on it, because it does. Start looking in the mirror and saying, I'm about to become so focused, so fly, so full of peace and power that losing me is going to be the biggest regret he ever had. You got to understand something. Men are visual. They are wired to notice changes. So when you start hitting the gym, eating better, dressing cleaner, walking taller, they notice. When you start glowing differently, talking differently, moving differently, they feel that shift. When you stop making him the center of your world and start becoming the center of your own, that's when the power swings back in your direction. And let's be clear, this isn't just about how you look. This is about your mind, your money, your energy, your goals. Maybe you start a new hustle. Maybe you go back to school. Maybe you fix your credit, launch a business, stack your savings. Whatever it is, do it for you. Because there is nothing more attractive than a woman who's focused, who's independent, who walks into a room and don't need attention. She commands it. That's the kind of woman a man realizes he should have never played with in the first place. See, when he ignored you, he thought you were just going to sit around and wait. He thought you'd be crying over his silence. But instead, you got up and bossed up. You turned pain into power. And let me tell you, that speaks volumes. He starts seeing you out and about. You ain't posting sad quotes or love songs online. You posting wins. You're showing up with a smile on your face, peace in your spirit, and progress in your pockets. You're too busy becoming a better version of yourself to even worry about what he's doing. And that right there, that stings. Because nothing hurts a man's ego more than realizing you did better without him. When you focus on yourself, you stop looking back. You stop replaying what went wrong. You stop hoping he'll change, come back, see your worth. Because now you see your worth. And guess what? Once you truly recognize your value, you stop giving discounts. You stop allowing people who treated you like an option to have access to you like you're a priority. You stop showing up for folks who stop showing up for you. And something amazing happens when you level up. Your standards go up too. You stop entertaining the same type of men. You start realizing you deserve someone who chooses you daily, not someone who gives you breadcrumbs when it's convenient. You want a partner, not a project, a builder, not a fixer-upper. And now, because you've evolved, you attract different energy. You want to teach him a lesson? Let him scroll through your life and see he ain't even a footnote anymore. Let him watch you become the woman he swore you couldn't be without him. Let him realize he was the one slowing you down. That while he was busy ignoring you, you were busy upgrading everything about your life. Your friends, your family. Now hear me. It ain't always about getting revenge or making him jealous. It's about choosing you. It's about realizing that being ignored was actually a blessing. Sometimes God lets people reject us so we can redirect ourselves, so we can stop pouring into empty cups and start filling our own, so we can stop chasing closure and start chasing purpose. When you focus on yourself, you don't have time to chase people. You don't need closure. You don't need validation. Your life becomes so full, so fulfilling, that people who once ignored you now want your attention, and you ain't even checking for them no more. You start walking different, talking different, loving yourself in a way you never have before, and that confidence, that's what they feel when you walk in a room. It's not arrogance, it's self-respect. It's the knowledge that you are no longer available for people who can't love you right. You'll start noticing things too. That same man who ignored you might pop up again. He might text you. He might try to slide back into your life when he sees that glow. But by then, you'll have grown so much, healed so much, that the version of you he ignored don't even exist anymore. You've evolved, you elevated, and he ain't qualified to access the new you. And if he doesn't come back, that's okay too. Because leveling up isn't about getting him back. It's about getting yourself back, your joy, your peace, your sense of direction, your dreams. When you choose to focus on yourself, you send the clearest message of all. I don't need you to thrive. I needed to lose you to thrive. So remember this. When he ignores you, don't panic. Don't break. Don't beg. Just redirect all that energy into yourself, because the best way to teach him the price of ignoring you is to become everything he never believed you could be without him and more.